What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23. This time we're back in the Streamers & Co. Virtual Racing League hosted by the wonderful Phil Skills. And yeah, some of the people who were not here last week are now in the race, and some people who were here last week are not here. So yeah, we've got a few people. We've got the two Ferraris in, Dottie and Jermaine. We got Lewis Crazy in the Mercedes, Captain Liam in the Alfa Romeo, Costa's finally back in the Alpine. We got Mint in the Alpha Tauri as well. All those guys I don't think were here last week. And then a few people who were here last week as well, absent, including my teammate Antoine. He is not here, but we are going to be at Australia, which is a track that I typically don't feel like I do fantastically well at. You know, it's not a track that I'm too keen on. I'm okay, but yeah, we got a few fast boys in the league this week. You know, Lewis Crazy is someone who I'm pretty scared of. He's usually pretty quick. I think I definitely inherited a position last week just by the fact that he wasn't there. Dougie Falcons, as always, is I'm expecting to be right up at the sharp end. But yeah, I'll be interested to see who else can get up there. I don't really know about the pace of some of these guys. You know, Dottie I've never raced against. Jermaine I've never raced against. Captain Liam I've never raced against. The rest of these guys I've either raced against in the league or in open lobbies before. Obviously Mint is a new face, but I've raced against him in open lobbies before. I think me and him have pretty similar pace. It depends on the track. Some tracks he's absolutely rapid at, some he's not. But in any case, it's now time for us to finally get through into qualifying, and it is actually raining here in qualifying in Australia, which is potentially going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works for some people, but not me. I actually quite like the rain when it comes to racing against other human drivers. I feel like I go quite well here. First lap, however, I accidentally overloaded on fuel again. I'm hoping this will not be a trend like it was in Austria, where I did 2 laps with too much fuel and then binned it on the final lap. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. But as we move through, you can see I'm now on the inters rather than the wet tyres. I've decided to try and punt for the slightly less grippy compound in the hopes that we can potentially get a bit of an improvement on it, because it's you know, should be slightly faster depending on the conditions. It does seem like it slightly favors inters over the wets perhaps, although you can see that I am also running a lot less fuel than I was running before. So yeah, that probably factors into it as well, no doubt. But yeah, here we are in P4 at the moment after that first run, which I thought, you know, it wasn't that good of a run. Definitely a lot of improvement to be found. I did a fastest middle sector here, and yeah, it looks like we're going to be finding about 7/10 of improvement. I did a little bit of a mistake through those final couple of corners, which cost me about a 10th or so. As we cross the line, we're actually only a 10th off of pole. The fastest middle sector and the fastest final sector, despite the fact that we made a bit of a mistake in the final sector. I think we definitely have a shot at pole here. We're currently just over a 10th off of Lewis Crazy. Dougie Falcon's nowhere to be seen at the moment, so I'm not sure what's going on with him. But yeah, we're doing well, and we have the potential to maybe have a look at pole position. As you can see, through the first corner of our final flying lap here, we are already high up enough that we could get pole if we just do the exact same lap. But are we going to be able to just do the exact same lap? Who knows? As you can see, as I come through the first sector now, Lewis Crazy is retired from the session. I think he had some kind of problem or something, but you can see that I'm still holding on to just enough pace to be able to make it. I don't know if the track's got wetter or drier or anything like that, or whether I'm just finding more and more pace. But as we come into this sort of reprofiled section, it wasn't always like this. We're about 2.5 tenths up, so this will be good enough for pole if we can convert this. But we've still got a whole other sector left to do as we come through the chicane, turn in nice and early, and turn in too early for the following part of the chicane, go too wide on the exit, and lose all of the time. And that, I think, is pole position out of the window. I'll finish the lap anyway to see if there's any chance of me getting it. But yeah, I definitely think I was on for it if I hadn't made that mistake. This last few corners are not too difficult to navigate. They should have been absolutely fine to get through. It's just immensely frustrating to find ourselves in such a position, especially when I knew that we had the pace for pole. You can see for the final few corners I gained another couple of tenths. Could have been a 130.2, 130.1, something like that. But unfortunately, we crossed the line. It's a 131.2, and yes, we're we're still off the pace of Lewis Crazy. We managed to get on board with Dougie Falcons just in time to catch the tail end of his flying lap. He's navigating the final few corners now, and will he be able to find that 7/10 improvement to beat Lewis Crazy? He had a bit of a drift through that final corner by the looks of things. That's going to cost him some time. He's on the run up to the line now. Is he going to improve? Let's find out. Marginally, less than 1/10 in the end, and it wasn't good enough to improve up the order any. So we're actually going to be starting P2, which I was very, very pleased with. You know, in a lobby with these guys, with Lewis, with Ring Piece, with Dougie, with Mint Block, even, you know, the likes of Costa, Hequi, these guys, they are all people who really should be ahead of me on pace. You know, when I've raced against them before, they've been ahead of me quite comprehensively. So yeah, I'm flying pretty high right now. We've got to make some setup changes because the race is going to be dry, so we're going to drop this front wing a little bit, and we're also going to move the brake bias a little bit towards the rear, and maybe also increase the tire pressures just a tiny bit. So yeah, we're looking pretty good where we are at the moment. Going to change the strategy up a tiny bit as well. I've been getting some tips from one of my viewers saying that he always prefers to start on the medium compound of tire, and then, or always prefers to start on the harder compound of tire, I should say, and then move to the softer compound of tire at the end of the race. So if you're doing hard medium, you would start on the hards, and if you're doing medium soft, you would start on the mediums, and so on and so forth, you know. So that's what I've decided to do here. We're going to be starting on the mediums, going 11 laps on the mediums, and then switching over to the softs, and we'll see what we can do. If I can even stay on the podium, I think it would be a miracle, to be perfectly honest with you. I got so many fast guys around me. You know, we got Ring Piece and Dougie just a few steps back. I don't know what the pace of Dottie is like, but I mean, he's up in P3, so he must be pretty fast, right? But yeah, here we go as we get ready to go on the formation lap. Maybe there's a chance that if I get a good getaway, I might be able to get ahead of Lewis Crazy here. But unfortunately, you're about to, just briefly, you will see something that that has frustrated me a little bit. I was going to say angered me. It didn't anger me, but it frustrated me a little bit because of what happened here. So Lewis Crazy got reset in his box, and I managed to pull off a perfect 0.1, 0.2 roughly. Unfortunately, here comes Captain Liam. He's had a glitch, which meant we had to restart the lobby, which means we both start in a perfect position. And yeah, here we go now. Lights come on, and the lights go out. And we've gotten away about the same as Lewis Crazy, maybe slightly better, but in the second phase, I think he's just a tiny bit faster as well, coming under a little bit of pressure from Dottie behind. Is he going to go around my outside? He's going to try, but who's going to have the better exit from the corner? It's going to be me. I had to back out of the move. I was squeezed to the inside a tiny bit by Lewis Crazy and also by Dottie trying to get around my outside. So in the end, I kind of had to back off, and that has already made me about a second down on Lewis Crazy here at the moment. So yeah, struggling a tiny bit. And yeah, we're going to be coming under a lot of pressure. Ring Piece starting on the soft compound of tyre there, and potentially going to be trying to make an overtake on me sooner rather than later. I imagine through this section he's going to be pretty bloody rapid. Will I be burning a lot of battery, or am I going to just try and hold off the battery for the time being? I don't know, but you know, it is what it is for the time being. And yeah, we're just going to have to see what we can do. Here comes Ringy up the inside of me. Is he going to pull off the move? Not quite. But I do get a bit of a snap of oversteer on the exit of the corner. I was trying to leave him enough room. Very hard to go wheel to wheel through that section. And what that means is I'm also coming under pressure from Dottie, who makes the move. Dougie thinks about it, but he decides, you know, it's a long race ahead. He's just going to hold on to it for the time being. And yeah, I think that was pretty fair enough. Unfortunately, I just yeah, got a bit of an oversteer moment going from that sort of wheel to wheel battle with Ringy. And that was enough for Dottie to get past me as well. But nonetheless, we've managed to hold on to P4 at the end of lap 1. I imagine Dougie will no doubt get past me very, very soon. But then after that, I'll be very keen to try and hold on to every position I can. You know, I think Phil is a driver who I have very similar pace to. So if I can keep him behind, then that will be something that will please me no end, because you know, he's on the soft compound tyre at the moment. He's having a bit of a battle with Ryan there, who's having a much better weekend than he had last weekend. One of the first retirements, or at least certainly a retirement during the Austrian Grand Prix. Here in Australia, he's having a much better time of things, running up in P6 at the moment. But yeah, I'm trying to do what I can to hold on to every position I can get. Ryan quite close behind me, no DRS yet. Dougie has a bit of a moment through that reprofiled corner, and that allows us to keep the pace with him. Doddy as well is not too fast compared to us, I don't think, on those medium compound of tyres. So I think it'll probably be a matter of time before Dougie makes his way through on Doddy, and you can see that now they are going wheel to wheel through the first, not through the first corner, but through the this sort of turn. I think it's 6 and 7 sort of complex. And as they come in the run, I think this is turn 9 now. Actually, Doddy's had a spin there. I watched this footage back a few times to see if there was anyone that was at fault there. Looks like Dougie did leave him enough room. Unfortunately, Doddy just went maybe a little bit too deep into the corner. Dougie was slightly ahead going into the corner. So, I think Doddy was maybe just a tiny bit too ambitious. And, unfortunately, that meant he had a bit of a spin and promotes us back up into P4. I imagine Dougie will now break away from us, and we're going to have to put on a big defense from Ryan here, who's going to have the DRS. He's got the soft compound tyre. Is there any part of the track that he's not going to be faster than me in? I don't know, but what I do know is that he's going to put pressure on me immediately going through turn 1. We're going to be wheel to wheel, and for the time being, I'm just about going to hold on, get the better exit from the corner. But once again, here he comes. Here's Ryan with the DRS, and up the inside. I think he's going to make the move stick on this occasion. Maybe I can hold on around the outside, but the softs still have quite a lot of life in them. He's a bit skittish. I think he's struggling for traction on those mediums a tiny bit, possibly. But nonetheless, I do manage to stay with him, and I think we're going to have the DRS on him going through this next sector. But we do have to be cognizant of Phil and Boo Boo behind as well. Both of them putting the pressure on as well. Both of them on the soft tyres. So it's not going to be. I'm not going to have it all my own way by any stretch of the imagination. But one thing I will have my own way is that by the time that we get to turn 9 there, I will be a full car length in front of Ryan. And we managed to avoid contact on that occasion. I don't know what would have happened if we'd have made contact, but fortunately we don't need to live in that reality. Good battle going on between me and him for the time being. But it's what it does mean is that Dougie, Ringy and Lewis are all breaking away from me very quickly. You can see the ring piece, even with that 3-second penalty that he's got, is already over 3 seconds ahead of me, so I don't need to worry about that for the time being. But I think Ryan is probably going to mount another challenge. You can see that Boo Boo has gotten ahead of Phil as well in the battle for P6. They've fallen away from us a tiny bit, as Phil's actually going to try and get him back through the DRS zone. Is Ryan going to mount a challenge on me? Not at that corner, but he will have DRS once again through this next sector. I don't want to burn too much battery because I don't want to jeopardize my straight line speed. I'm not running a particularly high downforce setup, but it's not like super low downforce or anything like that. So I have to be careful about my straight line speed. Try and hold on to my ERS if I can. And, my logic was, if I've overtaken him after he's got past me once, I should be able to do it again. So that was the rationale for that. And, now we're going to see if I can get back past him during one of these 4 DRS zones around Albert Park. It's kind of a bit ridiculous. It's basically DRS the circuit. The same with Austria too. Just so much DRS going on. I think next week we're going to be doing Silverstone, which again, 2 DRS zones there, but at least it's not quite as trivial as it is in these circuits. We managed to get past Ryan through the second DRS zone into turn 3, and we take P4 once again. Meanwhile, Ring Piece has a 6-second time penalty now. So actually, if things stay as they are, if I manage to hold on to this position, I imagine Ryan and Phil's tyres must be starting to go off by now. Surely, we might have the option to maybe finish on the podium. That would be absolutely remarkable. I said in Phil's chat before the race started, I said to him, if I can get a podium, it will be an absolute miracle. And pretty much everyone agreed with me. I'm by far, what am I trying to say? I'm by no means the fastest driver here, as I get a bit of a warning there for a bit of a wobble. Ryan had a wobble too, but I couldn't capitalize on it because I had a wobble of my own. He managed to get past me as well. Here comes Phil with the dive bomb. We make a tiny bit of contact there. I think I did it pretty well to avoid that being more major. But what that has meant is that Ryan has now broken away from DRS, as I had to slow up quite a lot. Boo Boo right in the fight. Actually, it's Hekwi. A lot of people right in the fight as a result of that, as Ryan comes into the pits. I guess he was really struggling on those soft compound tyres, or maybe he got damaged or something, I don't know. But in any case, we have managed to hold on to P4. I don't know if Ryan, surely he can't be going to the end on a set of hard compound tyres or something like that. I feel like that's a bold play from him. We'll see if it works out. But we're gonna be just doing what we can. Meanwhile, Ring Piece over 6 seconds ahead of me again. He's been overtaken by Dougie Falcons, and I think Dougie Falcons might actually be about to make a pass for the lead as well. He is putting the pressure on Lewis Crazy, who's been having it all his own way at the moment. But Boo Boo right behind me, and maybe going to be piling some pressure on me as well. We'll see what he can do, whether he can get past me or not, as Lewis Crazy falls back into P2 and Dougie Falcons assumes his natural position at the lead of the race. Meanwhile, Costa down in P6, 12 seconds of penalties. Must be extending the track quite a lot. I don't really know what's going on there. But in any case, yeah, we're coming under pressure from Boo Boo, or at least we were, but the yellow flag is out, and you can see he's had a bit of a moment there. I actually got clarification for what happened with him there. He managed to pull his wheel straight off his desk, so I did feel a little bit sympathetic for him. He said he was going to super glue his wheel to his desk for next time. In any case, we managed to have things pretty much all our own way for at least the next few laps, as a lot of battling going on behind involving Jermaine, Costa, Phil, Hekwi, maybe Boo Boo as well, I'm not quite sure. That kind of caused them to lose quite a lot of positions to me, as Ring Piece has had a moment there, and he's fallen right back into my clutches. You know, I'm going to be within a second of him now. I don't quite get DRS on this occasion, but if there's a detection point coming up, which sadly there isn't, but if there was, I would have had DRS to him. I'm within a second of him. We'll see if I can stay with him. As you can see, I think his tyres are quite hot from that spin, because he's had yet another moment. I'm going to see if I can try and go for a move on him here to the outside at turn 3. He's going to brake slightly later than me, and yeah, manages to hold on to the position for now as we get pushed out a tiny bit wide. Lewis Crazy has come into the pits, and he's not really who we're racing at the moment. I'm going to be focusing on Jermaine, who's down in P5, but does of course have that 3-second penalty. So yeah, lots of people struggling with penalties right now. Meanwhile, I'm managing to keep it pretty clean here in this P3 position, which you love to see. You know, you don't want to lose out any positions due to a penalty. You know, I can extend the track limit sometimes, but generally I like to just keep it consistent. Ringy absolutely firing it into the chicane there. I kind of had nowhere to go, tried to go around his outside, but it does look like we're once again going to try and get the pace on him. Who's going to brake later here going into turn 11, I think this is. Is it going to be me? Is it going to be him? It is going to be him, but he gets a bit of a wobble, and that is finally going to allow me to go through on Ringy. A big battle going on between me and him there for that final podium position. You know, Lewis having already pitted. It's between me and Ringy for P3 at the moment. Obviously, he's got that 6-second penalty, so I don't need to get ahead of him. But obviously, I want to try and extend my gap to Jermaine. I don't want to be caught behind someone who's maybe going a bit too slow. We've finally come into the pits on lap 11. We're going to going onto the set of the soft compound tyres to the end of the race. Optimal turn in. You love to see it. Here comes Ryan in the Alfa Romeo. He's boxed onto the hards as you expected, and yeah, now here comes TCR Burner as well. He's going to be making his way through, but I don't think he's pitted yet. I'm not 100% sure whether he has or not, but in any case, we're going to be coming out on track in P5 for what I think is going to be net P4. I've got to try and get within that 3-second range of Ryan if I can, and then hopefully his penalty will do the rest of the work for me. But yeah, here we go. We've already caught up to TCR Burner. I can only assume he's yet to pit, because he's not very fast compared to me at all. You would expect the mediums to have at least a little bit more pace than he's showing on them. Try and go around the outside here as we come on the run to turn 11. And yeah, by the time we get there, we are going to be a whole car length in front, as Costa is out of the session, and that is the first safety car. 12 laps. I was thinking to myself at some point, maybe we're not going to get a safety car for the whole race, but that was naive thinking, as both Dougie and Ryan have come into the pits, and that has allowed Lewis to take the lead of the race, I believe. So yeah, pretty interesting. But actually, I think Lewis pitted again. I think he wanted slightly fresher rubber. He was on a couple lap old soft compound tyres, but he decided to go on another set of softs, so not sure what's going on with that. But yeah, here we go now, getting ready to go once again, lap 15. Bit of contact there between Dougie and Lewis Crazy. Not sure what's up with that. Dougie weaving around a little bit, but actually it was Lewis that picked up a 5-second penalty for it. I don't think I'm going to stick with him, but I will give you the spoilers now. Lewis Crazy did end up getting that penalty revoked by the end of the session, because we kind of just, you know, we all kind of agreed it's probably not really fair for that to stand when it wasn't really his fault. Just kind of saw it as a bit of an incident. You know, no one got any damage, so it was all fair in love and war. But here we are, flying high, P3. Obviously, we've got to worry about people on slightly fresher tyres behind us. But that said, our softs were only 1 lap old when the safety car was called. So really, are people going to have that much of an advantage over me before the end of the race, especially when we're only doing, what, 6 sort of racing laps on these soft compound tyres? I don't think people are going to have too much of an advantage on me. We've managed to resist Hekwi. His mediums are already quite old by this point, and he's got 9 seconds worth of penalties due to corner cutting as well. So yeah, it really is the penalty Grand Prix as Hequi picks up another 3-second penalty, again for corner cutting, I guess, as he's, yeah, taking some questionable lines. Not sure what's going on with him. But in the meantime, Boo Boo out of the session, and that is another safety car called. This one will only be here for a couple of laps. But the safety car bunched up the field very recently, which means that the field is pretty close together already. And yeah, here we are flying pretty high in P3, and all the while this is going on, you know, we will be able to hold on to this position. Even if we do get overtaken by some of these people with penalties, I still think I'll be able to keep them behind. We actually do a bit of a pause there. And when I unpause, you can see that Lewis Crazy had gone off the track there for some reason. Very interesting what happened with that, but yeah, he's gone off the track. That's allowed not only me, but also Hequi, Jermaine, and Phil also to get through on him as well. And I think the other Ferrari of Doddy as well. A little bit of carnage going on there because I think it counted for some people as an illegal overtake, and some people were kind of trying to avoid getting that 5-second penalty. Jermaine got hit with it. I think he was the only one that suffered a 5-second penalty as a result of that. Mint Block went into the pits in the end, so he's going to be going on another set of soft compound tyres, I guess. But, you know, me and Dougie here doing the old one-stop. I think Hequi as well on a one-stop. Not sure about Jermaine and Phil. I think maybe they were on a 1 or a 2-stop. Jermaine had that 5-second penalty for the illegal overtake revoked at the end of the session. So at the moment, he's effectively got a 3-second penalty. But of course, I don't know whether that's going to get revoked at the moment. So I just have to kind of push as if he's only got, you know, as if he's got no penalties, basically, because you never know what's going to get revoked and what's going to stand. It was the same with Hequi as well. I didn't want to get overtaken by him on track. I know that there's one corner here in Australia, which is quite glitchy. Gives you like 6 seconds of penalties instantly or something like that. So I didn't want it to be the case that Hequi might get a penalty revoked for what was deemed to be unfair at that position. So yeah, I just had to push as hard as I could. But fortunately, we were already breaking away from Hequi. Dougie obviously moving away from me. And yeah, in all of this, it meant that I was able to sort of just kind of end up in a bit of a no man's land. Lots of penalties for cars behind me. I really wasn't worried. Even if I did make a small mistake, it wouldn't really matter. But you know, we managed to keep it pretty quick and pretty consistently fast. That's the name of the game. Maybe I'm better around Austria than I give myself credit for. I don't know. But in any case, we are rounding what will be into the final sector now, turns 9 and 10, and yeah, only a few more corners left to the end of the Grand Prix. It's been 20 eventful, action-packed laps, 2 safety cars, 3 retirements in the end, because Lewis Crazy ended up retiring from the race as well. He basically didn't want to race anymore after he kind of had some weird issue with his television or something like that, he said, or with his Xbox. Not quite sure what happened with that. But in any case, we're going to round the final corner, and we are going to come on the run up to the line, and it is going to be a hard-fought, but I would argue well-earned P2 finish for me. Much better than I ever could have imagined. Phil is going to take P3 once penalties are applied. But yeah, there are a few other penalties which we ended up issuing post-race. I think Mint got one for a collision. TCR Burner got one for a collision. And I can't remember who else it was. Hequi got one for a collision as well. So yeah, 3 collisions applied. And yeah, a really hard-fought race. I'll show you the final standings in a second, and then I'll show you the amended standings once we sorted out some other penalties which weren't given in the race, which we thought were not really fair that they didn't get given. But yeah, congratulations, Dougie Falcons. Another win and fastest lap takes him up to 52 points in the championship standings, whereas I only find myself currently on 26, and I'm actually, that result takes me up to P2 after Hequi failed to score. You know, I was one of the best. You know, Anto and Josh missing out. They were 2 of the people who were ahead of me in the championship before this. They weren't here this race. But yeah, this was the final standings according to the game. But now I will show you the final standings as all the penalties applied. So we've got Dougie, me, Phil, Jermaine, and then, you know, from there on downwards, you can go back and pause the video if you want to see the full results. But yeah, it remained Dougie, me, and Phil on the podium. So I was pretty bloody happy with that. Phil too, he was targeting a podium, so he was pretty happy. You know, some of the biggest losers, Hequi, fought his way back through the field, only for it to not count because he picked up so many penalties. You know, I'm pretty sure he'll be feeling hard done by with that. Lewis as well, some kind of weird glitch causing him to miss out on probably a P2, you'd have to say. But, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Nonetheless, it was a brilliant race. Silverstone coming up next, and I am absolutely, you know, really looking forward to that one. I love that track. It's going to be a banger. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.